Hi foodie friends, I'm Jessica and today we are making a super popular recipe from Savory Experiments, and they are banana cookies. What makes them so special is this is another way to use those really super ripe bananas other than making banana bread, although I do love a good loaf of banana bread. My kids, they like cookies more, and cookies are just more fun. So use those bananas in a different way next time. I'm gonna show you how. We're gonna get started with our dry ingredients. The first thing we need is an all-purpose flour. We're gonna use 3 3/4 cups. Show you how to properly measure your flour if you're not using my dog's barking, sorry about that. If you're not using a scale, go ahead and scoop it in lightly, like this. And then take the flat edge of a knife and even it off. There you go. Okay. The reason is if you just go like this, you're gonna end up with way more volume of flour, and that's one of the #1 reasons that baked goods turn out dry. You've used too much flour. This is also a really good reason why you should use a kitchen scale to measure your ingredients, but we all know that I am a super lazy baker, and I am okay saying that. I am going to continue to measure the good old-fashioned way, just like my grandma did. Okay, so we're going on to that 3rd cup. If you notice here, I'm pouring this all into a sifter. Sifting is super important for dry ingredients, otherwise you could end up with it not being mixed evenly or over mixing once you put all the batter together. Then you'll have pockets of baking powder, baking soda, salt, cinnamon, nutmeg, whatever it is, and it won't bake evenly. You'll end up with cookies that are lopsided, and nobody wants that. Oh, I need my 3/4 cup. Okay, I know baking's a science and I should measure these properly, but I'm just gonna guesstimate that 3/4 cup in this 1 cup here. Again, lazy baker. I think I got too much in there. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna do all the dry ingredients together and then sift them. So we've got baking powder. I'm gonna do 1½ teaspoons of baking powder. This is our leavening agent. It's gonna help them rise, get a little fluffy. Okay, 1½. We have 1 teaspoon of cinnamon, because what pairs more, it doesn't fit in there. What pairs better with bananas than cinnamon? Not much, okay? A little more than 1 teaspoon there, but who doesn't love a little bit of extra cinnamon? I'm not gonna say no. 1/2 teaspoon of coarse kosher salt. We all know that I like the coarse kosher salt. Least salty flavor, really helps brighten without being too salty or too metallic. And we have 1/4, and this is a 1/8 teaspoon here, of ground nutmeg. Ground nutmeg is such a great earthy spice, and it goes wonderfully with cinnamon. Anything that calls for cinnamon can also use a little dash of nutmeg. If you are feeling really adventurous, instead of the cinnamon, skip it and use an apple pie spice or a pumpkin pie spice, depending on the season. They'll all go wonderfully together. A little bit of cloves, maybe even some allspice. Okay, so we're gonna sift that all together. This breaks up any of the lumps and gets everything nicely distributed. If you do not have a sifter, go ahead and just use a whisk. Put it all in the bowl and whisk it together. What I don't want you to do is throw the dry ingredients right in with the wet ingredients, because then people tend to overmix the batter, and overmixing the batter activates the gluten, makes the strands longer, and when you do that, it's gonna make your baked good, whatever it is, a little bit tougher and dry. You're incorporating more air in. There's just a lot of things that happen there that you don't want to happen. Let's get started on our wet ingredients. I have a mixing bowl here. I'm gonna move some of my dry stuff out of the way. Clean up my workspace, right? I'm working alone today. I don't have anybody helping me, so it's all me all day long. Okay, next up, we've got 1 cup of white sugar. White sugar can't really be packed in. I'm gonna kind of go like that with it there. And what we're gonna do first is cream together the butter, I should say, butters, because I've got 2 sticks here, and both sugars, because we are using 2 different types of sugar. So I've got 1 cup of the white granulated sugar. I have 2 sticks, which ends up being 1 cup of unsalted butter. I do like using unsalted butter so that I can control the levels of salt that go into my baked goods. Other people like using salted butter, and that's fine, but then I would suggest omitting the salt in the dry ingredients. And here we have a half a cup of light brown sugar. Brown sugar is brown because it has some molasses in it. Dark brown sugar has more than light brown sugar, and this light brown sugar is really light. Different brands will vary on how much they put in there. And brown sugar you usually want packed in. This helps break up large chunks, but also gives you the right amount and volume. And since it's kind of wet like sand, it's hard to get if you're just spooning it in. It tends to have a lot of air pockets. Okay, we're gonna cream these together. This is the part where I always get myself. You guys always get yourself, so I smash it down in there, and let's start off slow. If we start off at all. Come on, there we go. I just got this new hand mixer. It's super quiet. Can you hear it? Kind of in love with it. And it has a light so I can see what's going on below me. Okay, I've made a mistake, which I'm sure a million other people have made too. My mixing bowl just isn't big enough. So why don't you give me a little time out here, and I'm gonna grab a bigger mixing bowl, because after I start adding the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients, this is gonna be way too small. So give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay, now I've got a larger mixing bowl, and this mixing bowl is probably a little bit too large, but you know what? I'd rather go larger than smaller. So let me do that there. See, even those of us that cook for a living make mistakes all the time. And now I can crank this bad boy up just a little bit higher so that I can get this cream together faster. Starting to come together just the way I want it. Perfect. So we've creamed this together. Creaming it together helps the sugars break up, incorporate with the butter. Just the pure friction of the blenders helps the butter soften a little bit more, so that after we start adding the rest of our wet ingredients, we don't end up with large butter chunks that when the cookies bake will end up as weird little butter pockets, and it's not fully incorporated. It's just not good. Don't do it at home. Okay, next up, 1 egg. And the star ingredient, bananas. These look a little brown. Why? Because they were frozen. So I don't know about you guys, but my kids, whenever I buy bananas, then they don't eat them. They start to go overly ripe, and I can't be making banana bread every 3 days. So I freeze them. I use them in smoothies, I use them in cookies, I save them for when I do want to make banana bread. Make sure you peel them first, put them in a plastic bag. I usually cut mine into thirds so that they're in smaller pieces, and pop them in the freezer. The only thing is that they oxidize even further, so they turn a little bit brown. If you're using a fresh, overly ripe banana, if you will, yours might be a little less brown, and this is gonna impact the color of the cookie. So more yellow banana without any brown spots is gonna be a little bit lighter in color. One that's a little bit more ripe is gonna be a little bit darker in color. That's not a bad thing. Bananas continue to create their own sugar. It makes them sweeter. It gives them almost a syrupy kind of consistency. And that's what's gonna give this so much flavor. So don't be scared of the brown banana. I'm using about 1 cup. It's exactly 1 cup actually, but that's about 2 to 3 ripe bananas. Of course, not every banana is the same size and shape, so you do want to measure this one, just because if you've got too much banana in it, you could possibly need more flour, and if you need more flour, then the whole consistency of the cookie could be off. This is vanilla extract. I'm doing 2 teaspoons. If you want a heavy banana flavor, you could swap out 1 teaspoon of vanilla for a teaspoon of banana extract. But since my bananas were so ripe, I know that they're gonna be bursting with banana goodness, and they don't really need it. I'm gonna go ahead and mix these in now. I can already smell these. The banana flavor is really, really large. Now we're going to incorporate in our dry ingredients. I'm gonna do this gradually. I'm just gonna use a scoop here. You can add a little or a lot, but you don't want to add it all at one time, or else you get the flour bomb, and that's never any good. Now you're don't have as much of your dry ingredients, your kitchen's a mess, you're a mess, and I wore black today, so probably not a good idea. So we're gonna incorporate this in probably 2 to 3 different sections. Get this started. The trick here is to still not overwork that dough. So while we want to do it in a couple of incorporations, you want to just mix it until it's just blended, and all of those flour bits that are along the side of your bowl can be incorporated in with a hand spatula. That's not going to beat it as hard as a hand mixer or a KitchenAid, like a sand mixer. That will get them to be that tough, dry cookie that you're not looking for. Okay. Starting to get pretty stiff here. Pour in the rest of that. You can do this by hand. You're gonna have massive bicep muscles. Good for you. I'm totally cheating. Okay. My kitchen smells like cinnamon, nutmeg, and bananas, which is pure heaven. I'm gonna get all of those bits from along the side of the bowl, work them into the cookie dough here. Anything that's needs to be scraped up from below. This dough is still pretty sticky, and because of that, we are going to chill it. If you don't chill dough that needs to be chilled, what you're gonna end up with is if you plop the cookie dough on the cookie sheet and bake it, it's gonna spread out more. Chilling it's gonna help it keep its consistency. And these cookies are rolled into balls, then cinnamon and sugar, and they come out kind of being a little bit of a mound. So that's fine. But the one thing we do need to do, because I'm that person, tell me I'm wrong, I don't care. Taste the cookie dough. I judge all of my baked goods on the cookie dough long before it is ever cooked. And this one's just right. So let's pop this into the fridge for about 2 hours, and then I'll see you right back here to make some cookies. Welcome back, foodie friends. Our dough has chilled. We are going to use a 1.5 tablespoon scoop to get equal mounds of dough. I've taken off my rings, I've washed my hands. This dough is still gonna be a tad sticky, but it should be in a pretty good ball form. I've got cinnamon sugar here. This is 1/2 cup of sugar. It's actually a whole cup because I doubled it, with 2 tablespoons of ground cinnamon. You can add a little nutmeg to that, pumpkin pie mix, apple pie mix, whatever you want. Covered, and we're gonna put it on a parchment lined baking sheet. This is an insulated baking sheet so the air can roll all the way around the cookie, and parchment paper so they don't get too browned on the bottom and don't stick. So continue to do this with all of your dough. Leave them about 2 inches apart. You don't want your cookies to be too close together. They can actually accidentally steam each other, and that ends in a gooey cookie, not the kind of cookie we want. So. And our last cookie here, pop it onto that sheet. Now they are gonna bake in a 350-degree oven from 12 to 15 minutes. The trick here is to take them out right before they brown. They might have a little bit of crack on them, and that is perfectly okay. As they cool, they might crack a little. Again, okay, but if they start to brown, they've cooked a little too long. You want a nice, chewy, soft cookie. Here we go, let's bake them. Well, foodie friends, these are fresh out of the oven. They smell delightful. All the things, sugar, spice, and everything nice that your kitchen should smell like, right? And I know that this is probably gonna be a bad decision because these are superty duperty hot, but I'm gonna taste one anyway because I can't help myself. Banana bread in a cookie. Can you go wrong? I don't think so. From my kitchen to yours, have a great day. Be a lazy baker, it's okay. Make sure to leave me a comment, give me a thumbs up, say something, let me know you're there. I love hearing from you. And subscribe. Don't forget to subscribe. Do that too. Oh, very hot. Very, very hot.